Shalom from the frigid wasteland of the swamp. This week, a bunch of the staff of Progress Now Colorado are here in Washington, D.C. attending the America Vote State Summit, where progressive activists and civic leaders from across the country all sit down after every big election and sort through what worked, what didn't, and what the next couple of years in American politics are going to look like. This year, Colorado progressives are the rock stars of a conference full of rock stars. And there's a good reason for that. After the most incredible progressive election victories in Colorado since FDR was president, not to mention huge milestones like electing the first openly gay man governor in the history of America and becoming the second state to elect a majority of women to our state legislature, everyone is looking at Colorado politics to see how we turned our state not just from red to blue, but to a model of how to win and grow progressive power over the long term. Back home at the state capitol, a long-awaited equal pay for equal work bill passed its first committee hearing. Here are the facts. A woman working the exact same job with the exact same responsibilities makes on average 80 cents for every dollar a man makes. If you're a woman of color, it's even worse. 63 cents on the dollar for black women and 54 cents for Latina women. That's why Senators Jesse Danielson and wife of the show, Brittany Pedersen, are trying to pass the Equal Pay for Equal Work Act, which makes big changes to the law to require employers to post salary information, most importantly, giving workers who have been discriminated against due to their gender the right to go to court. If this doesn't sound like common sense to you, well, you're probably a dude.
Magical.
But for women who have to work twice as hard to get ahead, this bill is a no-brainer. And then Thursday happened.
And lawmakers say they plan to bring back the red flag bill.
It's going to be one of the most important bills to pass this year. For years, Republicans have told us that gun safety legislation like the bills Colorado passed in 2013 would never work. What we all need to do is focus on mental health. Now, the truth is those gun safety bills passed back then are saving Colorado lives and keeping guns out of the hands of those who have no business owning weapons.
Now all of you skunks, clear out of here!
In fact, last year, out of a total of 347,000 background checks, 6,200 were denied a gun. That's only 1.8%, but that's 6,000 people who shouldn't have a gun not getting a gun when they tried to buy a gun. The truth is these laws work. Thanks for playing, NRA. Another important tool that we can make available to protect people from gun violence by people suffering from mental illness is through something called an extreme risk protection order.
But I'm not doing this for Alex and my family. I'm doing it for yours. Because this is as bad as you think it is.
Representatives Alec Garnett and Tom Sullivan are bringing a bill that would allow a family member or law enforcement agent to go before a judge, and if they provide evidence that someone is experiencing a mental health crisis and are a danger to themselves or others, they can order that the guns be removed from that person's custody for 14 days. The rights of gun owners are protected, the order is only temporary, and no, you can't call in a false alarm on your neighbor just to jerk their guns for being Republican. Colorado's in the midst of a suicide epidemic. Evidence shows temporarily preventing a person in crisis from accessing a firearm can save their life and the lives of others. If this law had been on the books when the terrible shooting that took the life of Douglas County Sheriff's Deputy Zachariah Parrish, his family believes that his needless death could have been prevented. That's why over 80% of the public, including 60% of Republicans, support ERPO laws in the most recent polling on the issues. This legislature is taking care of the people's business, and we're going to look back on their accomplishments in 2019 and be very, very proud. That's a wrap on episode 5 of This Week in Colorado Politics, live on tape from Washington, D.C. Next week, I'll be back in Denver, and Congress will be back at work here in the swamp. We'll see you then with another recap of what's happening at the Colorado Capitol and with our representatives in D.C. Drop us a line, hit us up on social media, or tell us what you think in the comments. See you next week. Whatever, the camera crew's not here.